We explore the complexities behind the unrest in Los Angeles with two distinguished experts. Professor Ashraf Singer, the world political analyst from Cairo, and Mr. John Rosamando, the national security expert from Washington, D.C. Gentlemen, together they will shed light on the political, social, and security dimension of this unfolding crisis, helping us understand what these events reveal about the deeper fractures within the United States today. Welcome, gentlemen. Professor Singer, how do you interpret and read, really, the recent ICE raids and the resulting protests in Los Angeles in the broader context of the U.S. domestic politics?
Yeah, it's really a huge step from Donald Trump, to managing the illegal immigrant in the United States in California. California, uh, probably they are very sensitive about President Trump now. Other democratic state, probably they are not happy about the trade war with China and the Trump policy against the illegal immigrant in California. We understand this problem a long time ago. That illegal immigrant they are really helping the California economy. But in that response to the escalating unrest, the President Trump really what really Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, said that he invoked the Title 10 of the U.S. Code to how the president used the federal agencies like the National Guard, to be sent to the deploying, 2,000 uh, troops to Los Angeles without the approval of the governor, Gavin Newsom.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the major problems because this has never happened before in 1965. So this is could be the second time, and this is really drive or drove the problem more really tense. No one can really accept, to allow illegal immigrants, to enter the United States. But in terms of dealing that with the states, the President Trump, I think one of the things that he missed, he should really consult and get the approval of the governor. So this is can really be understood within the structure of the federal and the local or the states. I think this is one of the major problem now between California and the administration in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Osamando, from a national security perspective, how justified is the deployment of the National Guard in Los Angeles?
Absolutely. President Trump watched in his first term when he kind of begged and the Democratic governors of Washington State, California, etc., to deal with the widespread rioting that followed the George Floyd incident. President Trump has learned his lesson. He knows that the Democrats use street theater like these riots for political points. So I think that the president is doing the right thing by stepping in where he knows that the irresponsible local leadership will do absolutely nothing. I mean, the last administration let close to 10 million criminal aliens cross the border, and President Trump was elected by the American people to reverse that tide. So the Democrats are standing against the will of the American people.
Mm-hmm. Professor Singer, what role do you think the accusations of racism play in fueling this current unrest?
I don't think, racism could be in that picture. We understand the President Trump is the president of all the Americans, either Republican, Democrat, non-democratic, non-Republicans. I understand, the situation clearly that what really President Trump need to clean up, the United States from the huge number of illegal immigrants. They enter United States many years, even before Trump began. So that problem of illegal immigrants, in the United States is really threatening the national security of the United States. We agree completely with any action that can really protect the Americans and protect, the right of Americans. They can really feel secure about their home and their country. I understand this clearly, but we understand that number of these guys, the majority of these guys, they came from Latin America. And the situation now, particularly in California or in the southern states, these guys sometimes, they claim that is, this is really targeting Latinos, but I don't think so. And what really I can understand the situation clearly, that is, the current administration is not really cooperative, so very cooperative with the governors before that action. This is can really understanding within the code of law or the rule of law. Um, Both of them, they have different story, either the current administration or the current governor in California. But probably, I agree with my colleague in Washington, D.C., that is, number of democratic states really need to use these actions by President Trump as a tool of the current conflict between Republican Party and Democratic Party with on or over different agenda. Probably, legal immigrant situation is not really is not really presenting the whole pictures of problems now in the way how to see the future of the United States. Probably Republicans and Trump, they are now using their tools as an elected president, and they need really to exercise their power to protect America. Democrat probably they are not accepting, and the new power it's representing, Elon Musk or the Silicon Valley group. So by the end, we need really to protect, what really the Americans elected, what really respect. We need really to respect, the action by President Trump. We understand that he is doing something in different sections, in different issues. He really is facing many challenges so far. But the situation in Los Angeles, if is not really getting pulled down, my conspiracy theory will start to work. Probably the deep state or something is really working against President Trump. But this is not good for America.
Mr. Rossomando, how does the deployment of National Guard troops by federal order differ from deployment by state governor? What risks does this federal intervention pose, keeping in mind that the spokesman for the LAPD, McDonnell, has stated that the LAPD did not even exhaust all its capabilities?
Well, let's put it this way. President Trump learned from the last time around, you hit hard, you hit fast, you don't give the other side time to dither. I mean, the Democrats have shown in the past several years that they have no intent on doing what's necessary to protect their citizens. I mean, we had riots all over this country in 2020, and President Trump saw, what the Democrats did. They exploited the chaos. You have the governor of California, who's more interested in getting political points against President Trump than in, quelling the violence. So I think that, we're a nation that's supposed to be a rule of laws, not a nation of Democrat versus Republican, and the Democrats want to play politics.
Mm-hmm. Well, Professor Singer, how significant really is Governor Newsom's opposition to the federal deployment of the National Guard in Los Angeles? What are the legal and political implications of his condemnation of the deployment as a deliberate provocation?
Yeah, well, one of the things that is, the governor of California, given Newsom, He just mentioned that is, President Trump invoked the Title 10 of the U.S. Code to federalize, California National Guard deploying 2,000 troops. Till now, what the media really reported, that number is not really 2,000, it's about the 300. But that point, unfortunately, it started to be the core point of the situation, and I don't agree completely with the governor in Newsom in that situation. The situation now, if we have some people really committed violent actions against, the public buildings or against the streets or stopping freeways or giving, that level of threats for the Californian residents, particularly in Los Angeles, completely, no one can really accept that. We understand that these guys, the illegal immigrants and their relatives, and now some of the legal immigrants or the U.S. citizens, particularly from Latinos, got really or give that level of sympathy to the situations where these guys got arrested in that federal building or so on. But in that situation, I think the coming days or coming hours will determine the situation clearly. In other words, if that situation is getting escalating, the California governor should really cooperate with President Trump directly, 100%. He should really remove that kind of legal situation in that discussion now, because protecting Californians and protecting Los Angeles as a major city and one of the most important cities for the U.S. This is the first. Second, I think that situation shouldn't be at a major conflict or disputes between the California and the federal. In other words, the situation now is need to be controlled. But my best understanding that the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, will act rationally, and he will show that he's really interested in controlling or containing that unrest situation in Los Angeles. In other words, he probably will not be silent or just watching and keeping the situation moving in wrong directions, because this is not right for the security, is not right for Los Angeles.
Mr. Rossomando, how might the president's statements and actions influence the public perception of the protests and the government's response?
Well, I think that the American people will look at President Trump as being a man of strength. I mean, one of the things a lot of people, were upset about 5 years ago was during the George Floyd riots, how President Trump appeared weak. He appeared to do nothing, while the governors of Washington, Oregon, and California let rioters torch the cities and set up anarchic areas. So this will be looked at strongly. Another thing that they're trying to do is say that President Trump is a dictator. Well, go back to 1992. President George H.W. Bush sent far more National Guard and the U.S. Marines into Los Angeles to quell the L.A. riots that followed the Rodney King verdict. So there's precedent for this. And I think that President Trump is the only adult in the room here.
Mm-hmm. Professor Singer, what are the international implications of this internal crisis, especially the public image and the soft power that the U.S. possesses?
Yeah, this is a good question. Basically, Mexico is a pretty feel uncomfortable. That president of Mexico said clearly that is, the Mexican, they are not really criminal. And this is one of the problem about the southern states, the number of legal immigrants or legal immigrants came from Mexico or from Latino. So this is a very sensitive issue between Mexico and United States. But I don't think that situation is going to be escalated by Mexico and President Trump or United States, particularly that President Trump, gave all the consideration that is can really help Mexico or managing, the borders between Mexico and United States. United States is actually under a huge threat of the wave of illegal immigrants, not only from Mexico, but from the Latin America. And of course, I understand that level of threats, it's really high, particularly if the number of terrorist group, they can really enter the United States from the southern border. So I understand, that situation clearly, but in terms of understanding, the public image or international, community, the way to see the situation there, everyone, he or she, or will interpret that situation from his or her view. And if you're really accepting President Trump decisions, you love that. If you don't, you're gonna to hate that. But the situation now is not hate or love. The situation clearly in the United States, if the people of the United States really elected President Trump to be president of the United States, and they are really expecting that he is a commander-in-chief and he is responsible to protect the United States, interest. And I agree completely that situation about controlling, illegal immigrants. This is a time that is, the President Trump, actions or acting at the proper time. Probably some people can really critique, the way of his action or the way of the administration's actions, to dealing or to handle the illegal immigrants or that reaction. And it seems to me like they were really violent in Los Angeles, and I saw some of the police cars, they got burned, and the violent situation or the violence over there is not really a nice picture to be delivered from Los Angeles or from the United States to the world. But this is a situation. The current administration should really deal with that situations now, because tomorrow will be more difficult. After a year will be more difficult. So I think the situation now, they need really to take proper actions and to protect the United States security, particularly from the wave or massive illegal immigrants. They were crossing the borders. You don't know exactly who are these guys, what they are doing. Smuggling something probably is not matching with the U.S. law. So what that action is really corrective from the current administration, but really need to cooperate with the governors before to take that action. Probably this can really cool down the situation much better than what happened now in Los Angeles.
Mr. Rossomando, to what extent do you think the current immigration enforcement strategy is driving instability, and do you think the government will have a more lenient stance, at least up until these violent incidents ease down?
Well, let's put it this way. You have extremist agitators from the extreme left in the United States. They're trying to create an image for the world of a destabilized America as a result of President Trump's policies. The policies are not responsible. You have groups that are funded by the Open Society Foundation, George Soros, and a bunch of billionaire foundations like the Tides Foundation in San Francisco. I mean, this is all street theater. This is not real. Most Americans support what the president's doing.
Mm-hmm.